with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen and women serving overseas, and especially P.O. Billy Samora, one of our Suffern police officers who is currently deployed. Keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, welcome to the Village Board meeting for Monday, February 5th. It's now 7 p.m. I'd like to set the dates for the next Village Board workshop, Tuesday, February 27th at 7 p.m. And the next Village Board meeting, Monday, March 5th at 7 p.m. Do we have a calendar?
Yeah, right there.
Good. No, that's good.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. It's now 7:05. I'd like to open up the continuation of the public hearing to amend the Village Code, Chapter 266. Have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good evening, Mr. Magrino.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Village Board. We've been through several versions of this, several public hearings that we've continued. Initially, we started out, the intention was to clarify what was basically a restriction on the parking of commercial vehicles in residential districts. It's basically, it pretty much has stayed the same. We've changed the wording a little bit to make it a little clearer for enforcement purposes, court purposes, and also for the public's purposes, so that they understand what's permitted and what is not. And more significantly, it's in terms of the definition of commercial vehicle, which we put in there because, and Mr. Conley's here, and I'll ask him to speak to this. Some vehicles may have quote-unquote commercial plates from the Department of Motor Vehicles, but they may not necessarily be commercial vehicles, and even DMV recognizes that. It's based on the weight and the size of the vehicle, and so DMV will say, look, we recognize that even though we are requiring you to get commercial plates, that it may not necessarily be a commercial vehicle. So we kind of address that by indicating that a commercial vehicle is a vehicle actually used for commercial purposes, and kind of laid it out in terms of being transportation of goods, wares, and merchandise, or passengers for hire, or repair, service, installation, inspection, landscaping, or snow plowing purposes. And again, we tidied up the language in the first paragraph, indicating you'd have only one commercial vehicle not exceeding 22 feet in length and 8 feet in height. And again, in no event beyond the front line of the house. So it would have to be parked beyond the front line of a residence. So, Steve, did you have anything you want to add? Or? All right. So
Just on the use of, on the line of the house on a permitted driveway, just to be clear on that?
Right.
The permitted driveway is the improved?
Right, what a driveway is in the code. What it, interpreting it, previously it said, in a side yard, it really didn't even mention driveway. We wanted to make it clear, you can park in a driveway, provided it's beyond the front line of the house, you can park in a private garage, etc.
Okay.
Is front line defined in our code?
No, it's not. Before it had said between the street line and the principal building. Again, front line, I think we're, interpretation-wise, and for going to court, I think most people would agree that's, the front door, basically, or the front line of where the house is set.
So one thing, what if they don't have a driveway going past the front? I'm just curious.
Well, that's a good question, and that's something that, it's something that people face. Actually, Amy and I and Steve have spoken about, maybe making arrangements so that people could get a permit, so that if somebody does have a work vehicle and is in that situation, they could park perhaps in the D lot, and we're in the process of doing that. It's really no change from what's currently existing. If anything, this is expanding it a little bit because the size of the vehicle, again, the code enforcement officers couldn't be here, but in enforcing it, sometimes, you know, somebody, let's say a plumber, an electrician, the vans are changing sizes, so they kind of felt it was fair to make it 22 feet as opposed to the previous 20, and 8 feet as opposed to the previous 7. But again, keeping it beyond the front line of the house so that, you know, they're not in the front yards and affecting.
Right, so that's what we were encountering with the commercial vehicles being parked in driveways in the front of their houses, in front of homes, which was sort of a nuisance to some residents. So this law is going to streamline and tighten up the permitted use and how you can park a commercial vehicle, or where you can park a commercial vehicle on your property.
And again, and with the intention that arrangements are being made that somebody who doesn't
Right.
fit this scenario would be able to still bring their vehicle home and park it in the, well, not home.
And we
but
will be speaking about that
to
this
the
evening
village.
also.
Right. And this has been circulated to the county, and they had no objection.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? So at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This time I have the local law amending Chapter 266, Article 7 of the Code of the Village of Suffern regarding commercial vehicles in residential districts. Do I have a motion?
Excuse me, before you do that, this is a type 2 action under seeker, not requiring any further environmental review.
Thank you.
And we need a motion to that effect.
I have a motion declaring this a type 2 action.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Type 2. Now I have the local law amending Chapter 266, Article 7 of the Code of the Village of Suffern regarding commercial vehicles in residential districts. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
I have this one here.
Okay.
Yeah.
The local
Thank
law.
you. This is the continuation.
Yeah, we're declaring this a local law now that you're finished with it.
What are you doing?
It's a local law. It's a local law, isn't it? You just gotta read that.
Isn't that,
Yeah, you have to read that.
He adopted it.
that was it?
Adoption, yeah.
We didn't have a local law number one.
Local law 1.
Yeah, but,
No,
all right. Okay, I stand corrected,
No.
but it's wrong.
this one.
This is it?
Okay, it is now 7:10. I'd like to open up the public hearing of a continuation of the public hearing to amend the Village Code 250 Tree Advisory Board, Section 250-3. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So this is a continuation of the public hearing. Mr. Fred Vella?
Yes, this statute says that the Tree Advisory Board, which was established by the statute in 2013, shall be made up of 5 members. We're finding that it'd be a much greater benefit if we could have more than 5 members. So we'd like to change the law to read a minimum of 5 members, but no more than 8. Additionally, the statute currently has varying lengths of terms ranging from 3 years to 1 year for the varying members. So we're going to make it a clean 1 year for all members, which would be appointed by the mayor, then ratified by the board.
All right. Okay. Do we have anyone from the public here that would like to speak in regards to the tree advisory board?
Oh, I can't talk to you, I don't know.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to a motion to close the public hearing. Have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. This is declared, we need a type 2?
Type 2, under seeker, requiring no further environmental review.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. So here I have in front of me local law number 2 of 2018, local law amending the Village of Suffern Code, Chapter 250, Tree Advisory Board, Section 250-3, membership and compensation, specifically defining membership. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Rella.
Oh, stop it. Jeez. Okay,
That's good. All right, you okay?
yeah,
You want to go outside? Thank you all.
go ahead, I'll catch up.
Okay.
I'm at a meeting, I can't talk to you now.
Okay, so the village clerk is out. I'm going to present the resolution establishing a parking permit category, monthly residential parking with overnight privileges on a month-to-month basis through May 31st, 2018. So I have a resolution here establishing a parking permit category, resident monthly vehicle parking with overnight privileges. So the parking permit category of residential monthly parking with overnight privileges with an associated permit fee in the amount of $68.12 per month, effective February 5th, 2018 through May 31st, 2018, with applicable restrictions as defined on parking permit application. That's not the one. This one. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And just for the record,
Yes, this one, yeah.
the fees within this article of the Code of the Village of Suffern are allowed to be changed from time to time by resolution of the village board without need for a change, an actual physical change to the local law.
Hold on. Okay, next resolution I have is the establishing, very similar, of a parking permit category of residential monthly commercial vehicle parking with overnight privileges in parking lot D. Village Board of Trustees establishes the parking permit category resident merchant commercial vehicle monthly parking with overnight privileges in parking lot D with an associated permit fee in amount of $100 per month, effective February 5th, 2018 through May 31st, 2018, with applicable restrictions as defined on the parking permit application. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so for discussion, just so everyone is aware that the first resolution that I was stating was for resident parking at 68, let's go off, 68.12 per month. It's off, right? Is that it? Hello? 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 There we go. Okay. Okay, and the second resolution was in regards to resident merchant commercial vehicle parking for $100 a month in the D lot. So going back to the original adoption of the local law with commercial vehicles parking in the front yard, we're providing residents of the village a space to provide, to park commercial vehicles if they bring their commercial vehicle home and they're not able to put it in their driveway, or they don't have a driveway that goes past the front line of their house. Now we're giving them the option, if they want to continue to use the van, their work van, they can park it in a municipal lot for $100 a month.
Specifically Lot D.
Correct. Do I have a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next, I have a resolution appointing Teresa Shedler, receptionist in the Suffern Parking Department, in the village clerk's office. Mayor hereby appoints Ms. Teresa Shedler to the position of receptionist in the Suffern Parking Department, village clerk's office, position control number 340332, at a rate of pay of $17 per hour, effective February 5th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Before I make the motion, I'm just letting the public know, there's only one other person that works there. So now they'll have two people doing the administration.
Correct, that is due to the passing of
Judy,
Judy. Correct.
This is a full-time position? Or
Yes.
part-time? Full-time.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the
Do I have a second?
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Okay, I just want to bring you up, update you on the development of a special permit use application process. The village has numerous special use permits that we issue from time to time here in the village. We're developing a special permit use application process so that when someone applies for a special use permit, such as music, tables and chairs, whatever they may be applying for, we have a whole process in place. We're updating the process. That's just a quick update on that. Fire Department, Chief John Salmon.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Village Board. I have no new business to bring up, just an update. Last month, we're pretty busy with fire calls. We did about 41 runs. Hopefully, we're looking at warmer weather coming in the very near future, and that's basically about it right now.
Great. We had a healthy discussion last week with the treasurer, the chiefs of the fire department, and myself in regards to equipment, the status, and the upgrades and updates to the fire department. So we're diligently working on keeping the firefighters safe and upgrading and modifying their equipment. So the discussions will continue.
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, at this time, I'd like to open up the mic to audience participation. Anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Come on up and state your name and address, please.
My name is Barry Dane. I reside at 31 Terrace Avenue in Suffern. Good?
Yep.
Okay. Currently, I'm the president of the Suffern Little League. Suffern Little League is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization whose primary purpose is to implant firmly in children of the community the ideals of good sportsmanship, honesty, loyalty, courage, and respect for authority. As the president of the board of directors, our membership and our board has voted unanimously to offer a donation of material and labor to improve and renovate the existing Little League field known as Velarde Field, as described in a proposal previously submitted to the mayor. Over the past 40 years, the Suffern Little League has donated time, material, and labor to the village in excess of $2 million. Our donations have included, and not been limited to, complete renovation and installation of a Kukalo field, a second renovation of Kukalo field, lights on Kukalo field, Horton field, Karate field, and Velarde field. Fencing, dugouts, sprinkler system, annual installation of clay, seed, clubhouse renovation, batting cages, electric storage houses, and the list goes on and on. We respectfully request that the village would accept our donation to renovate the Velarde field.
What was the last, I'm sorry?
We respectfully request that the village would accept our donation of labor, of material and labor to renovate the Velarde field, as described in a proposal previously submitted to you, Mr. Mayor.
Did he submit it to you before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
I know that there was a little bit of a discrepancy in the proposal of what actually was going to be done. I know we spoke about it. I don't think we had the follow-up conversation in regards to what actually was going to be done. My interpretation was that it was going to be I don't know what it's called, the special dirt. Was that what we were talking about?
That's correct. There's a special product that we would install, very similar to what we've previously donated to the village on Kukalo Field. We renovated, recently donated sod material called DuraTurf on the Kukalo Field, in addition to seed and bases and so forth with the Kukalo Field. That was done 3 years ago. So the same renovation would take place if permitted on the Velarde Field.
Okay.
The village has generously accepted our donations over the years, and we hope that this precedence can continue.
Mr. Dane, first of
Yes.
all, I don't think we've ever met, but appreciate all that you have done for the kids, in particular of the village of Suffern. I'd like to sit down with you and talk about this, not as in this forum, and I'd also like to get on the same page with what you're proposing to donate to the village, because I have seen different proposals over the course of the past 2 years, and I've met with your predecessor with regard to negotiating some sort of license agreement. So I'd be happy to sit down with you and further this discussion, but I think it's more than just a 2 or 3 minute conversation.
Agreed. I'd welcome those discussions. I've reached out to the mayor previously, and I'm looking forward to a response and a date to meet.
I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to it as well.
Should I reach out to your office again?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
My office again?
I don't know, the mayor, who should I reach out to?
Sure.
I mean, I've made several requests, Mayor.
The
With all due
village
respect,
clerk
I've
and
made
the
several
mayor's
requests.
office, absolutely.
No one's gotten back to me, so, it's
Okay,
frustrating.
we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Sure, drop us an email, we'll get right back to you. And
Okay.
we'll set up a meeting and we'll discuss the whole
Could be some
donation.
dates, and I'll just.
We've done that.
I know, yeah.
Right, so, as a resident and representative of many residents in the village, we're pretty frustrated, right? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak?
Gentleman right there.
Good evening. My name is Jason Lennon. I live at 303 Parkside Drive. I'd just like to support Barry. I'm the vice president of the league myself. I'd like to support Barry in his motion to get this done. This is more than just donating to the town. The field really needs to be done. There's a safety issue there. The lips are starting to get up a little bit, and there's only so much we can do to maintain the safety of the field without kind of really redoing it.
And we don't want to go over anyone's heads, but I just want to let you know I support Barry and hopefully being able to move to get this done.
Absolutely.
Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
He wants to go.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the Village Board. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm on 4 Sunset Drive. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors for Suffern Little League. And to reiterate what Mr. Dane said and Mr. Lennon, the fields are, and as being the safety officer or former safety officer in Little League, we want to avoid the risk of injuries that could occur on those fields. And so we appreciate your consideration in this matter. We appreciate the time you're going to afford us, but there are certain things that I think you need to take into consideration. We understand some of the challenges you're faced with, but we would definitely appreciate that time and that opportunity because we think there's a lot of things that we could do to improve that overall product that we provide to the children of this good community, and it's been a strong program for many years that many of you have participated in. And if we're going to continue to do that, we need to improve the offerings that we're providing our children because there's a lot of competition out there, and we'd hate to see that program go away after all the good work that's been done after so many years by people represented here and in the audience. So just to let you know some of the other details that we want to talk to you about.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, look forward to it. Thank you.
Oh, gosh.
Russell Kemp, 10 Chaddock Place in Suffern, actually over by one of the other Little League fields. I'm not going to talk about the safety issues that I used to be on the board, and I used to be the former safety officer, so I'm not going to talk about that. I think allowing the Little League to do this for the community builds the community. The parents go down there, they help. This is an important thing. If we think about what our chief of police does to build community, the fact that when the parents and the families get together and they do all this work together, it builds that community. It's important. And I think that when you have a league built by your community and supported by your community, you get to a better place. And I think that the village would benefit greatly from this. And they'd benefit from it, I think, fiscally. That's just, and I know that many of you ran on being somewhat fiscally conservative, so I think that this is an important, this is an important place where you could probably save a little bit of money for the village. And I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Could I just ask a couple of brief questions, because I wasn't aware about the Velarde renovation possibility. When were you hoping to do this renovation, and how extensive is it going to be? You're not going to take it to Kuklo level, are you?
Yes, it'll be the same thing we did with Kuklo 3 years ago, and the scope of the work lasted approximately 5 days.
We're not getting that on the tape.
Can you speak over there?
You should go speak, please.
Yes, the work that was done on Kuklo Field approximately 3 years ago lasted about 5 days. We had an individual who specializes in that type of work, and it is a unique and specialized work. It's not something that the general person can do.
So it's basically a sod replacement is the
It's a sod, yeah, basically what we're doing is we're going to remove the sod, the plan to remove the sod on the infield and remove the current clay that's on the infield and replace it with a professional level turf. It's the exact same product that's used at Shea Stadium. And
So about a week-long project?
Yeah.
And you were hoping to have the community?
Yeah, I was hoping to do it this year. Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to get it done for about 3 years.
This would include a sprinkling system?
That would include a sprinkler system as well, because of the sod, yes. So we'd have to work alongside the town, as we have for many years, and install a sprinkler system as well.
So the installation of the sprinkler system would be by whom? Same?
It would be a separate contractor, because of the specialty nature of installing a Little League field. The heads need to be positioned in a particular area to effectively spray the field. So, for example, when the Kukalo field was installed, it was not installed by a professional person who installs Little League fields, and the current spray on the infield is inadequate.
Who installed that?
I don't know that. That's before my time.
It was there, they just worked around it.
Oh, it was already existing? I don't think these mics are working, are they?
Yeah. So I think it was a group of volunteers and the town working to install the sprinkler system. But again, when we installed the Kukalo field, the contractor said these heads are not correct. And he showed me where, and then we brought someone in to consult and look at the sprinkler system, and he said, no, it's not correct, this is where they need to be, and this is what we can do. And he offered to correct the current sprinkler system at Kukalo Field, and we were willing to donate that labor material as well, but we've run into roadblocks along the way.
Okay, so let's set up a couple of dates and see when we can meet.
Okay.
I think that'll be great.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, Moira? I'm sorry.
Well, since Little League does start in April, is this a task that would be performed beforehand or after the season is over?
Ideally, we'd like to see if we can get this done beforehand.
It's not too early?
It really depends on field conditions. Again, because it's a week-long project, in theory, I've already spoken to the contractor, he can do the work, he can go play. I mean, that's because he compacts the dirt, it's ready to play the next day. And the sod, it's not small pieces of sod, it's 12 by 4 lengths of sod, doesn't pose any safety hazard for the children. It's not going to move, basically.
Okay.
Good? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joseph Hunt, acting CSCA president. I have a couple concerns. First of all, about baseball, being so close to the river and being over a couple outtakes, we might want to just look into that before they start digging into fields. It's a great idea, but we do have some issues with our drainage going through that field. Number two, with the baseball, we did help out on the first field rebuild. We spent over a week hauling all the stuff that they brought out and saved all the clay for future build for these guys in the other fields like softball, Velarde, Horton, and whatnot. So participating on the village half, we do support you guys in any way we can. But I'm here for more than that. That's just the easy part.
Are you finished on the topic of Little League?
Yes.
Because I just have a question. So we removed all the material?
His contractor loaded it into our, he had a special machine to cut up the grass so that they could have leveling. They took they dug, I think, 1.5 feet or a foot or so down to eliminate 90% of the clay, so they have absorption through this new, I call it Yankee Stadium soil, not shed. But again, we worked hand in hand with him. We got rid of everything. We went to Bunker Hill with the grass and mixed it, made mulch or topsoil out of it. But we did save baseball and the village a lot of money by holding on to the clay for future repairs throughout the fields that are still clay.
So you can't interchange the clay now with the old clay and new clay?
Storage at the far end, which we would probably like to get more, because over time it does push out from grading in between the bases and whatnot, and then there are heavy rains, and again, the water puddles that come from heavy rains.
Okay.
Go out.
How would you envision the interplay between their private contractors and village DPW?
the last time they had a private contractor, it's all based on union scale for the people that are working in it. It ended up being an owner, his son, and a worker. They were up to par. I wasn't the president. I really didn't get deep into that, but everything was done by the book. And again, we assisted them to save them money. I think we ended up saving $7,000 by trucking it out for you. If I'm not close, it's somewhere around there.
So you'd have no objection to them?
As it stands right now, I would like to read the paperwork, but I might not be here next week as the acting unit president. I'm just bringing something up so you're aware that we did help out, and I do have a concern with our drains going through that field. You know just as well as I do, it's hard to get that water away from Karate Field, let alone the roadway when it rains hard. So any heavy equipment disturbance might crush it more.
Comment, can I comment?
Sure, go ahead.
I've been working on these fields for the past 15, 16 years. We've had bucket loaders on that field numerous times. In fact, the DPW brings in bucket loaders to load the clay without disturbing the Velarde field. Out of all the fields, the Velarde field is probably the best drain of the field. Now, what happened over the years, the clay has gotten higher and higher, and the infield has gotten lower and lower. So that's why it has to, the clay hasn't been, it needs to be put down in a particular way. So that's why at this point we're in need of a full retracement. It's not that the field is falling down, the clay has risen above the
Expected limit. It's over limited on clay. But my concern is not the drainage of that field. It's the pipes that are collapsing underneath it. We're losing them more and more. So again, it's something to think about, maybe replacing that before the fields get up and running. I really don't want to get that deep into this meeting.
Okay, yeah, we'll have further discussion in regards to the drainage and the fields, and we actually know where the drains are, where the lines are.
Exactly where they
Okay. All right, so that's good. Joe, so possibly, maybe when we have the meeting, we'll bring Joe in on the meeting to help us out.
I should have my storm drain map to show you exactly where they go through. Again, I don't want to see, if you guys put 25,000 in something, then we have a major disaster down there, and we have to dig it all up. It's a waste of time. If we can do something before then, whatever. But again, I really...
Camera the storm lines.
And hopefully we can. Because at Horton Field, I don't know if you guys are aware of, we have a lot of issues with drainage there. And it goes right through by home plate, first base, to the river. And when they put it in there, the river was a different animal. Now that pipe goes upstream, so when the water gets full, it pushes out to our roadway.
And again, it's something we certainly talked about. This contractor
We're not
also
getting
provides drainage installation as well. This is what it does for a living. So it's something that's needed.
You're not going to get all that.
We'll look to explore the information of that as well.
Okay,
Let me just ask
perfect.
a quick question.
Go ahead.
In an effort to move this along, should we not have, different various departments?
Yes, we're gonna put something together, Barry, and, when you're available, and we'll put our DPW staff together along with myself. Okay.
All right, I'm here for two things that you guys brought up. This permit parking in the D lot. My members do plow that, and having cars staged all over the place will be a nightmare for plowing in the wintertime only. Number two, I didn't notice, and again, I'm new at being a unit president, I didn't notice any job posting for this job that you guys just talked about, for the receptionist. I thought we had to post all jobs. We are union here.
Right.
I didn't see a posting for a receptionist position. I don't know if you guys send it through the county.
We gotta put
I
it
usually,
out.
when I get when a job gets posted, we post it through all the facilities.
Right.
Even though it doesn't...
All right, let me check on that, and we'll get back to you on it.
Okay, I'm just bringing up that something I'm learning.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor and Board.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was, the county approved it
Yeah,
not to be
thank you.
posted because no one met the minimum qualifications. for the-
Okay.
It was taken.
So, I'm sorry,
It was
excuse me,
fine.
Joe, it was ran through the county?
It was,
What was the stipulation on it, Amy?
No one met the minimum qualifications nor had applied for that test.
No one met the minimum qualifications or applied for the test. So the county authorized the hiring.
Without
Okay, but
posting.
still, I think the county process, even with laborers, we still have to post a position.
she came from a list.
Right, you can check it with Joanne.
Yeah.
She'll go over
Okay.
the process.
Yeah, we'll go over
It's
it.
all documented, Joe.
No problem, I just don't want the union to come at me saying I didn't.
No, it was done correctly. It was it was a list that it came from the county.
We're gonna get you together with Joanne. She'll go over the file with you.
Thank you.
Jonathan Turco, 579 Lenape. First, I'd like to say, I think with the infrastructure and things that we talk about rebuilding, I think it's a great thing to have, obviously, people who are willing to donate their time and money and experience to rebuild our community for our children, as we're trying to draw, obviously, more younger families to the area with the Orange Avenue project, et cetera. And the parking down there with commercial, just as a recommendation, nothing against it, but maybe there should be something in there where you can actually not work outside your commercial vehicle in the parking lot if you're going to park it there. Because you might...
Say it again?
You might not be able to work outside of it. So if you have, like I'm a landscaper, I'm landscape construction, if I have my truck there and things like that, and then all of a sudden we get off work, we park our truck, and then guys could be working outside the municipal lot. So you might, they might be sharpening blades, they might be doing work.
Oh, I got you.
In the
Okay.
lot. So it should be...
That'll be
just a
established in
recommendation,
the
just
permit, in the
parking only.
application.
That's good.
It'll be detailed and outlined in the permit and
Saying that you
application.
just park there and you go,
Right.
instead of being like park there and then they could sit around, hang out in the trail, or they can actually do work on site. Most of these places that you rent from, they're yards, so they sit there and they'll do their work there on site. So instead of
Good idea.
It might be a mishmash of people working down there, and then you have to maybe redress it, so. That's it.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Okay, at this time, I'd like to close the audience participation. This isn't working, right? No.
It is.
What is it?
Number 42.
It doesn't work in life?
No. Oh, yeah, it is. It is working. No? In and out. Okay, the police department update. Okay, Chief Osborne is not with us, but I have a letter here that I received from Vincent Ryan, and I'd like to read it. On behalf of the very grateful 7 children of Terrence Ryan and his legion of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and extended family, I would like to publicly thank Suffern Police Department, and specifically Officer Ryan Ortiz and Abigail Adams, for rescuing our father from almost certain death in the early morning hours of January 7th, 2018. It seemed that our father, suffering from what we had thought was mild dementia, and for an unknown reason, felt that he needed to walk to town. The record will show that the outside temperature was hovering around 0 degrees with a wind chill of -10. At or about 5 a.m., clad only in a light T-shirt and without shoes, he grabbed his walker, descended the 5 back steps of his house at 103 Washington Avenue, and walked a block north to Oliver Street, where he apparently fell. Assisted as he normally is, this would have been a 20-minute trip. It was by great fortune that Officer Ortiz and Adams were on patrol that morning and very alertly spotted our dad, quickly assessed the situation, bundled him into the patrol car, and delivered him to the miracle workers at Good Samaritan Hospital, where he was admitted in very critical condition. The emergency staff through the day was able to restore his core temperature, heart rate, and breathing to normal rates. He did suffer from severe frostbite and had been undergoing daily treatments to limit the damage. In the ensuing days, the officers visited the hospital to check on Dad's condition. Truly service above and beyond the call of duty. I know what you are proud to call them among Suffern's finest, and we would strongly urge that they be recognized as such at an appropriate town meeting. Sincerely, Vincent Ryan. That's another great instance where the Suffern Police Department came to the aid of an elderly man who fell and was lying in the street in 0 degree or below 0 degree wind chill and actually saved his life. And the family is very thankful. So on behalf of the board and myself, I'd like to thank the Suffern Police Department for a job well done. That's good.
Resolution.
Okay, next I have a resolution in front of me, a resolution appointing Thomas Conklin, parking enforcement aide, part-time for the Suffern Parking Department. Mayor hereby appoints Mr. Thomas Conklin to the vacant position of parking enforcement aide, part-time, position control number 340318, at a pay rate of $12.50 per hour, effective February 5th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye, motion passes. Okay, that's good. Culture and Recreation, Ms. Mills. I got one here.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. So a few things that we have upcoming. We have AARP is starting in Leo Leiden, starting tomorrow, February 6th. They will be giving free tax services to the public. This Friday, February 9th, is the Dare Dance at the Community Center from 7 to 9. As mentioned on the last workshop.
Hold on, Kathy.
Just hold on a minute.
Okay.
Good to go.
The 2018 Mayor's Health and Wellness Program will be really kicking in. Some of the components of the Health and Wellness Program that we're working on are nutrition and education sessions, weight reduction program. We're going to have a weekly walking club. For those of you who don't know it, we have a walking loop in the village. We'll be having Tai Chi classes coming up. We have a lot of people who are interested in that. We are starting the last Wednesday in February with the Tai Chi classes. And then we're going to be doing additional yoga classes. And we're going to be doing yoga in the park this spring. And then yoga in the park over the summer for the evening hours. So we're really looking forward to it. We have some things that we're looking forward to doing with the employees of the village. And that includes the nutrition education that I just spoke about. We have stress management classes. We are working with Good Samaritan Hospital, as we have in the past. They come in and they do some sessions with the employees, and it's always been well received, and we look forward to having more of those. So we're really looking forward to that. Mayor and Amy, thank you so much for working with us on that. We're really, really looking forward to getting good things coming to the village.
You also expanded the, those that can participate in some of the classes where it used to be seniors a lot.
Right. A lot of the programs that we've had, yoga, chair exercise, those classes typically were open to only to the seniors. We have opened that up to more people so that more people will be able to come to the community center. Stay Fit program, we have that. And a lot more people can come to the community center, a lot more people can come to our event, program, I should say. So we're looking forward to opening that up and getting more people coming in to the programs.
I know that the kids from the high school expressed some interest in the yoga.
Right.
So and that's something else that we should follow up on to make sure that they're aware of the class. They seemed like they wanted to
They
attend.
did, yeah, that was a class, for those of you who don't know, it's a class that the high school students take during their gym class, and that would be a perfect opportunity for us. We're going to really push the yoga in the park to them. That might be an opportunity for them to get out and get out in the fresh air and get out by the gazebo. So that's a good one that we're going to go with. And then the Village of Suffern newsletter. In the past, we had a printed newsletter. Now, with the age of technology, we're able to offer things like that through a program that we have called Constant Contact. We've been working with the mayor on that, and Danielle from DPW, Nancy from Recreation, and myself been working on a newsletter. We're going to get feedback from each department and then give that an opportunity to get out. The first one will be the health and wellness, and if we can, we'll try to get together and go over the current one. The health and wellness one is almost finished. We'll look for some feedback from you, and that should be going out shortly. So it's coming together, and it's going to be great to be able to get the word out to residents and get out through Constant Contact. And our Facebook page, our Village of Suffern new webpage, suffernnewyork.gov, is very well received, and people are really getting a lot of information from the village. So we continue to do all those great things with all of our departments.
Yeah, it's taking some time, but we're getting there, developing a new website, and the Constant Contact and the electronic communications, which I saw the drafts of, which look good.
Yeah, Danielle and Nancy is doing a great job.
Doing a great job.
Yep, thank you. A few other things. Little League, it's good to see you here this evening. I look forward to working with you for the coming season. So anything you need, please always reach out. Thank you.
Now, also with the Little League, I don't know if you realized on the website, we have a link to the Little League as well, too, so you might want to take a look at that and see if there's anything you want to update.
A few things I have up for discussion this evening. 2 times a year, we plan a Broadway trip. We are looking to do our next trip on April 14th to see Hello Dolly, and we would like to sell the tickets starting as of tomorrow if we can, and start publicizing it. It would be for Hello Dolly on Saturday, April 14th, so if you can give me permission to start that process, we will start publicizing it.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I have a resolution before me authorizing the Recreation Department to purchase tickets and bus transportation for residents to participate in the Hello Dolly Broadway show trip on April 14th. The Village of Suffern Board of Trustees authorizes the Recreation Department to purchase tickets and bus transportation in the amount of $4,998.50. No, excuse me. Recreation Department to purchase tickets in the amount of $4,998.50, that's for the play, and bus transportation in the amount of $950 for residents to participate in the Hello Dolly show trip to New York City on April 14th, with a ticket price in the amount of $105 per person to cover the cost of the village associated with this trip. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye, motion passes.
Wonderful, thank you very much. The next thing I have is Clifford Theater. We are looking to do performances the first Friday and the first Saturday in August. We need to purchase the contract from MTI in order to do that. Tams Whitmark in order to do that. So the paperwork that you have in front of you, if I can forward that to Tams Whitmark, and we'll be able to get the rights for the show for this coming August.
Okay, so I have the resolution in front of me authorizing the license agreement with the Tams Whitmark Music Library for performance royalties and orchestral rights for the Clifford Theater summer production. Village of Suffern Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign the license agreement with Tams Whitmark Music Library in the amount of $535 to provide performance royalties and orchestral rights for the 2018 Clifford Theater summer production. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye, motion passes. Great.
Thank you. And in order to put on a play, we need a director and we need an assistant director. So I'd like to ask for permission to hire Anthony Kolar, who was our director last year, for the position of director, and then for Mary Guccione as the position to assistant to the director.
Okay,
For
so
the 2018 season.
I have the resolution authorizing Anthony Kohler to serve as Clifford Theater 2018 Summer Program Director. Village Board of Suffern Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign the agreement with Anthony Kohler, independent contractor, to serve as the Clifford Theater Program Director between April 11, 2018, and August 5th, 2018, with a total salary for his summer position in the amount of $2,200. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next.
And then Mary Guccione for Assistant
Okay.
Director.
Authorizing Mary Guccione to serve as the Clifford Theater 2018 Summer Program Assistant to the Director. As an independent contractor to serve as the Clifford Theater Program Assistant Director between April 11, 2018 and August 5, 2018, with a total salary for the summer position in the amount of $1,100. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And the musical director, I'm interviewing somebody next week, so hopefully by the next board meeting, that we will have decision on the musical director. So there's nobody at this time, but we do have somebody in mind. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, at the workshop I gave you, or maybe it was the last board meeting, I gave you a list of events for 2018. I gave you a new updated one this evening. The fishing derby has changed. The date has changed to June 16th. So the previous one you had has June 9th, but this one is June 16th. And then the concerts have been added to those 2018 events. So we've got a huge, full schedule for the year, and we're all looking forward to it with Elaine, Nancy, and Andrea, and myself, and all of our Recreation Board volunteer members. We look forward to having a great year with great events and all the great things that we do, as a huge thank you to everybody in the village for allowing us to do.
Great, thank you.
That is it.
It's a great undertaking. You guys always do a fantastic job every year.
Thank you.
Clifford Theater is an excellent production every year. Once again, we go through this every year of hiring the three members to produce the play. It's a great thing. Thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you very much.
All right. Charles isn't here today. Okay, Mr. Zawicki wasn't able to attend for the Department of Public Works. So let's skip down to... Is Joe here?
Another Joe.
That's all right. I can tell you the digester boiler replacement project is underway. I believe they laid the concrete pads and we're waiting delivery of the new furnaces, and the temporary boiler is in place. Arnold Construction is to evaluate the drain line that is in need of repair, to put it. So that will be happening. Okay.
Do we have to take care of authorizing those payments?
Yeah. How are we doing with that? Okay. You want to talk about it, or you want to hold off on it?
No, we gotta do so.
All right.
Okay. This came up at the workshop. We received a request from Superior Waste and Carting asking to assign their contract with the Village of Suffern for refuse and recycling collection within the container service district. That is certain condominiums and I believe co-ops within the village. This has nothing to do with village garbage collection for single-family homes. That request was to assign the contract to Donato Marangi, Inc. The original contract was competitively bid. Superior was deemed to be the lowest responsible bidder at the time. The period of the contract commenced on June 1st, 2016, and expires on May 31st, 2018. However, the contract does provide for an additional period of years not to exceed the initial term of the contract, in other words, 2 years. But we would have to give, I believe, 90 days' notice to exercise that, and that would be on the same terms and conditions as the initial 2 years of the contract. As part of our due diligence, Mr. Zawicki received the letter from Superior, then contacted the owner of Superior to get certain information, such as insurance documentation, a list of vehicles, registrations, driver's licenses, certificates of his insurance, as well as a bank check from Donato Marangi for security in the amount of $62,000, I believe,
Yes.
as security for the faithful performance of the contract. Mr. Zawicki also sent an email by which he deemed Donato Marangi to be a responsible bidder, but I have to be candid with the board with the caveat that when Marangi Carting previously had the contract, the accountability of the recyclables was in question. The contract, the existing contract with Superior Waste does contain a clause whereby which the board can agree to consent to the assignment of the contract, and that clause mirrors a section of the GML, which is General Municipal Law, Section 109, stating that before the contractor actually assigns the contract, that he seeks the approval of the village board and consent of the village board to the assignment of the contract. The resolution before you details all of that and concludes, but obviously this is up to the board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern does hereby consent to the assignment of the refuse and recycling collection container service contract with the Village of Suffern from Superior Waste and Carting to Donato Marangi, Inc., consistent with paragraph 1, section 27 of the contract and consistent with GML 109 on the same terms and conditions provided in said contract, subject to the letters being sent to the affected boards and property management companies and the clearance of the bank check submitted by Donato Marangi. Be it further resolved upon the conditions set forth above being complied with, that the security submitted to the village by Superior Waste and Carting for the performance of the contract be returned to them. So that's what's before you. And if anyone has any questions, I'll attempt to answer them.
My only statement is if they're going to take this contract and they're going to abide by everything and go to all the different boards in the affected areas, then if something does go, something happens, we can pull the contract?
Well, we could utilize the security that they're putting up to enter into a temporary agreement to get that garbage picked up and the recyclables. And we do not have to continue, the board doesn't have to extend the contract, and we would have to rebid it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
I don't know if you want to entertain it.
You want to ask a question?
on the contract.
Go ahead.
Since this company has a history, how long is this contract being assigned?
For now, it would be through May 31st of this year.
So you're not invoking the 2-year extension?
Not at this time.
That was my concern.
But I do have to be candid that there isn't a heck of a lot of time to exercise it.
Exactly.
So there's always the danger that they could do a great job right up until the time.
Of course.
That we would have to exercise the option, and then we would exercise the option, but it would really, I think, put us back to where we were anyway, where we have the $62,000. We could hold them in default. We could exercise...
The 90 days? You have the 90-day clause?
It wouldn't even, it would, if it rose to the level of a breach of contract, you're terminating the contract.
Okay, that was my only concern.
Yep.
So,
Need a motion?
Did I make a motion?
No, I didn't make a
Joe's
motion.
going to talk.
In the writing of that contract, I think it needs to be upgraded, especially to push corral cleaning. We have a major complaints going on right now throughout Essex Street in. And signage was one thing, but I didn't read much on about them being responsible for the corral signage and the laws of Rockland County recycling. We have garbage trucks that, I haven't got pictures yet from the maintenance or management companies that are coming and taking everything at once. So our recyclables are down on their avenue, but again, last time, just so you have insight, I don't know if you were here when this all went down.
Well, that was all through Superior. What's going on now? Is it with Superior?
I guess they're selling out.
Right, they're selling out now, but we're looking at Superior right now and then determining what we're going to do moving ahead.
Okay. Well, again, upgrading them corrals so that people know not to put bags in the dumpsters for cardboard and commingle, so that whoever's contracting is not picking them all up as garbage and we're losing money.
Gotcha.
And then again with the
Do
trucks,
you
we
know
had a
if that's
major issue.
happening now?
Huh?
Saying, yeah.
That's happening now.
It's happening now.
We had a major issue trying to monitor what color trucks they were using. Well, purple, red,
Joe,
white.
I believe also, it has to do with the people that are putting the garbage in the corrals. They're throwing the commingles, they're throwing everything in the garbage.
I think Charles had tried to specify that in that contract that the carter is responsible to control that with management.
With signage. Signage and cans and recycling cans.
We've had to go up and clean up roadways.
I know.
Debris spill.
All right, we're going to take a look at it, a closer look. Thanks. Okay, do I have a motion authorizing the request of Superior Waste and Carting to assign Donato Merengue, Inc. to the Village of Suffern Refuge and Recycling Collection Container Service contract?
Subject to the conditions contained therein.
Do I have a motion?
motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Discussion from the audience? Sure. You have,
Mr. Mayor, I believe that the performance bond or something to the effect of $62,000.
Yes.
That in the event that the village elects to renew the contract with, not Superior, but...
Merengue.
Mayor, they should really get on and speak at the...
Reevaluate. $62,000 sum of the performance bond for the life. If the contract would be extended 2 years, would the bond remain in place, or would the amount of the bond be increased because the term of the contract wouldn't be for a short amount of time, but a longer amount of time?
It's a good question. Would you increase it?
Okay, I believe that it's the same amount of money
Over the term.
as Superior put up for their 2-year contract. So it would probably not be increased. It would be the same. And the price wouldn't be going up either.
Based on the fees,
Right.
Go ahead.
60,000 is the certified check or bank check
This is ridiculous. Maybe we're not going to give them.
So it's 60. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Where am I? I got it, yeah.
You got the next one?
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing payment number 1 and payment number 2 to Horza Brothers, Inc. for the wastewater treatment plant digester boiler project. Resolved that the Village Board of Trustees authorizes payment number 1 in the amount of $66,837.25 and payment number 2 in the amount of $71,957.75 to Horza Brothers, Inc., Orangeburg, New York, for the wastewater treatment digester boiler project. The AIA document G702-1992, application and certification for payments, and the certified payrolls have been reviewed by Charles Lewicki and have been deemed acceptable for payment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just to confirm, Mr. Janito, these sums were budgeted for, and
These sums have already been authorized, and the bonding for that money has been authorized. We haven't necessarily borrowed that money yet because we do have the cash flow available, and we'll put it together. And I just want to note, I think we might have missed item 9F.
What was that?
A Tilcon payment, the one just before that.
no, that's next.
That's another one.
Yeah, it's...
I'm sorry, what was the question? I went out of order.
Okay.
But I gave him permission.
Did we do a motion on that?
No, you didn't have the public hearing.
No, on this.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, okay. Okay, next is a resolution authorizing payment number 2 to Tilcon, New York, Phase 8 roadway improvement project. Resolved that the Village Board of Trustees authorizes payment number 2 in the amount of $30,051.46 to Tilcon, New York, 162 Old Mill Road, West Nyack, New York. The AIA document G702-1992, application and certification for payment, and the certified payroll have been reviewed by Charles Lewicki and have been deemed acceptable for payment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Janito?
Now, that's going to be reimbursed by CHIPS money.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
You're going to have this.
All right, hold on.
For Fred Roll. It should have been on the front page.
Okay. Okay, so received. Okay. It is now 8:15. We're going to open up a public hearing for Community Development Citizen Advisory Committee to seek Community Development Block Grant funding. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Rella.
Thank you. Community Development Block Grant, which is HUD money, which is federal money. Every year we put in for a grant. Last year we were awarded to put in some replacement sidewalks and new sidewalks on Wayne Avenue. This year we're looking at repaving parking lot B, which is the parking lot across from the post office. The cost of that project is approximately $175,000. The village, with this grant, needs to contribute something. We agree to contribute in this application 10% of that cost, and those monies do not necessarily have to be hard dollars, but they could also be soft dollars, such as our labor and time spent. So before you tonight, this application is due March 2nd, so before you tonight, you have a resolution such that the mayor can sign off and we can submit this application, and also that the funding amounts of $175,000 and 10% are incorporated into the resolution as well.
Okay, so the resolution accepting the recommendation of the Development Citizen Advisory Committee to seek CDBG funding for the Municipal Lot B repaving project. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Any future paving, I noticed that we like to build the edge of the roads and we keep the top, so we cap over the top of it, the kind of that.
This is...
We had Lexington around Copian, we had that project, and it actually ends up to be a 5-year road instead of like a 10 or a 15, 20-year road. So for the little extra cost, and build an entire road, and then put the base coat back on, put another top coat on top that will last you, it's probably twice as long. Our road is actually worse off than it was before the paving. So they mill the edge of the streets so this way they don't go over the curb and they cap the top section, which usually leaves that top section just kind of unbinded. So I know it might be a little bit, a little bit more money, but in the long haul, you're not getting a 3-year road where now you have more cracks than you did prior. You're actually looking at like a 15 to 20-year brand new road. So it's something that maybe just want to go with foreign phase or foreign spots.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration.
Mayor, I believe we had to open up the public hearing.
Right, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they should come up and speak in
I know.
mic,
Okay.
okay? Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Hunt.
Well, while you're taking comments, motion
Motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. We have a lot of drainage and flooding issues with repaving it. I'm hoping that this committee is going to look into trying to resolve some of the drainage issues, especially the entranceway coming off of Suffern Place. Once you hit level ground, that's where we lost one of our police cars 4 or 5 years ago. And it's in dire need of basin and drain replacement.
Okay, got it. Anyone else? Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
All in favor?
Could I ask you a question? The value that you established here, the $175,000,
Right.
just what exactly does that encompass? Just
removal of
repaving,
the-
not any potential drainage issue repairs, landscape, hardscape, anything?
No landscaping is involved in it. It's the removal of the asphalt. It does involve some drainage. I'm not sure quite of the extent of that. It was developed by Charles Sawicki, our DPW head, and also the striping of the new macadam that's put down.
Which one?
So there's a contingency built in there as well.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
That's what you did in the last meeting where you're just saying, resolution to authorize such and such, motion second.
Well, we did that. This is fast. Okay.
Yeah, and just one final note, to your question, I was just thinking, is the actual application itself does have to include a actual engineering estimate for the work being performed, okay? So as opposed to just something which was developed here in-house. Okay.
Thank you. That's good.
You want to give an update on the other stuff?
You want an update? Go ahead, sure.
Did we just close the public hearing?
I'm good.
We did?
Yeah. Yes, I voted on it.
The Justice Court Assistance Program for the village court, we were awarded a grant.
All right, hold on, we're getting ahead of ourselves. All right, so we have the resolution accepting the recommendation of the Development Citizen Advisory Committee to seek CDBG funding for the Municipal Lot B repaving project. Do I have a motion?
First, We did a motion to
Open
open
the
the
public
public hearing.
hearing.
Now we need a motion to close the public hearing, then we need a motion.
All right,
on
that's where we're confused.
So I'm
so now we gotta-
motion that we close the public hearing.
Right.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Now the resolution accepting the recommendation.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good. Oof. Too much paperwork here tonight.
Okay, for the Justice Court, we were awarded a grant of $7,129, and that was basically $3,500 for new security equipment, which includes new cameras and a new DVR. We also received $3,350 for computer equipment upgrades, new memory and new wiring, as well as monies for a new shredder. Every courtroom needs a shredder, I guess. The fire department, we put in a grant through FEMA for the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program, and we put in for 18 new SCBAs, or self-contained breathing apparatuses. They cost approximately $6,800 a piece, so that's a $122,400 grant. So we put that in, we should find out about that in early April. The DARE program, we awarded $7,000 to the New York Criminal Justice Services Division, and that's going to be for the resurfacing of the DARE hockey rink and also purchasing some hockey equipment. And lastly, finally, the well water number 1 project. We received from DASNY that we were going to be receiving the $49,000. We did receive the money, so that's great. So that came into the coffers. Just one final thing I want to point out is we kept talking about the digestive boilers, and tonight in paying bills, $79,000, another large amount, is that we have a grant for $250,000 for that project, so that will help offset. It's a reimbursable grant, so you pay the bills, and then you get reimbursed.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Great job. All right.
B, C, and D as well.
Okay.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Mr. Magrino.
Yeah, just for the record, on B, C, and D, under village attorney / assistant village attorney, B is a project that Rob has been working on. C and D, I have a conflict that I have to recuse myself on for both of those. So Mr. Magrino will be handling that, and I will be exiting the room.
I will have to also recuse myself for item C, because I have a conflict. Mayor, if we could, also, I'm going to have a conflict on this for the Save a Water Smart Watt.
Okay.
So,
Was it something I said, Mr. Mack? Everybody's getting up? I had a clear room. With respect to that first resolution, the planning board has been utilizing, I should say, the services of John Lang. He's a planner who had been working with McLaren Engineering, and he retired from that. His services over the years have been excellent. Planning board chairman, Mr. Genatino, is here, and I think he'll attest to that. And Mr. Lang provides consulting services through the planning board, the village planning board, on major projects such as Orange Avenue, he did, and there's another one now, Washington Mews, and others that come before the board. He provided since he has now left McLaren, he provided a proposal to continue with his own consulting business called Lang Consulting. It would be at the rate of $150 an hour, but importantly that the payments would not be made by the village, they would be made by the applicants on the projects that he's reviewing, and that's the way we've been doing it over the years. So this is really just to authorize the village to utilize Lang Consulting for those purposes. So I had prepared a resolution.
Just give me 1 second, I want to get Joe back into the room for Lang.
What's that?
Right.
Joe Hunt?
No, the other Joe.
no,
Joe Russo. Joe Russo, please. Joe, you have to hear out one more resolution before we get to the conflicting resolution.
You have to come too far. But, and just, I don't know if you're going to read the entire resolution, but it's for a period of 6 months, and we'll renew it thereafter, depending upon how it works, because John is kind of doing it remotely a little bit, and he'll be here, and sometimes he won't be here, but it'll be for 6 months, and I'm asking it to be back to January 1st of 2018.
Okay, so the resolution accepting the proposal from Lang Consulting to provide consulting services for planning board issues. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Joe, you can leave now.
Okay, this, very simply, Orange and Rockland had done some utilities work, and on August 12th, 2017...
Send Joe Hunt in, please. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
In the vicinity of 44 Prairie Avenue, the village undertook to, with the damage that was done, the village undertook to do some repairs. I spoke to Charles, I did not speak to Mr. Hunt about this, but Mr. Sawicki submitted proof of the loss to the village in the amount of $1,460 to Orange and Rockland. They've agreed to reimburse the village for those costs that were incurred, and as a standard, you know, we're making a claim, they're asking us to sign a release, so I'm just asking for authorization for the mayor or his designee to execute any documents necessary to accept those funds. But if you have questions on the damage, I guess Joe would be the person.
I don't know if Joe's familiar with the damage from O&R caused at 44 Prairie Avenue, or are you aware of any of that? No? Okay.
That was in August of 2017.
Okay. Okay, so I have a resolution authorizing the Village of Suffern to accept Orange and Rockland's repair reimbursement for the damage occurred on August 12th, 2017, in the amount of $1,460. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
Thank you. And finally, I don't have a motion on this. In 2015, the village entered into an intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Airmont to provide services, Joe Hunt again, to provide services, vehicle repair for Village of Airmont vehicles at a rate of $70 per hour. That agreement was dated October 19th of 2015 and went for 1 year. I guess it came up that it had never been renewed, so I have now been speaking with, or I should say, I've had some preliminary email correspondence with the village attorney for Airmont about whether or not we wish to continue, or whether I should say they wish to continue, and about us increasing the rate. And again, Joe, if you want to address that in terms of addressing the rate and maybe describe what the village does for Airmont.
We figured that bring it up, but keep it under an outside facility, so we still bring in, they come here, bring in their vehicles for maintenance and repairs. They do come here for fuel, just like the county, and we've done the county vehicles in the past. It generates a little bit of money, I think for around 5 to 7 grand, since we've been doing it under this old agreement, so it's justifiable to bring it up.
I think you said they only have like three or four vehicles, so it's not like they have a whole fleet.
Building and a fire inspector vehicle and a radar trailer, which we've upgraded and needed.
And we always give priority to our vehicles, and we don't work on your vehicles on overtime or...
I do not schedule anything unless I have open rooms for the maintenance department that I control.
Okay, so we'll continue that discussion.
Subject to my, getting preliminary agreement from them, I'll submit it to the board once we have that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Send in Mr. Kraushaar. Send in I was going to say something else.
One second.
What an agenda. Virginia, what kind of agenda did you put together today?
You don't push it.
She's gonna yell at you like, what
Yes,
yell?
no,
That was-
Poor Amy.
So lengthy.
Poor Amy. We're on E, Dan.
Yeah, I kind
E.
of figured. Okay, this is a resolution that in the past was an annual resolution where New York State Department of Transportation would reimburse the village up to $10,000 a year for certain shared highway services. They changed it this year to give an option of entering either into a 2- or a 4-year contract. I see no benefit to doing a 2-year contract, and they would reimburse us up to $10,000 in what we call shared services. So this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign that contract for 4 years with the New York State DOT for the Shared Services Highway program.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, next one deals with something that was brought up probably originally 2 months ago, having to do with a software program which the court could use to accept payments by credit card, and it would be handled by this company called N-Court. The issue that held this up was that the original contract provided that the jurisdiction for any potential lawsuits would be the state of Georgia. I got them to amend that to the state of New York. At this juncture, I am satisfied with the contract. The reason why it authorizes Judge Bonacore to sign is because it's actually a contract with the court, and the court is considered to be a separate entity from the village board, and the judge is responsible for making certain of the finances of the court. So all this is a resolution authorizing Judge Bonacore to execute the amended contract with N-Court.
Motion.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Good.
Okay. G deals with setting a public hearing to amend Village Code Chapter 26121C with regard to additional water rates to add a surcharge amount, amend an existing surcharge amount paid by customers who have declined to provide access for the installation of meter interface units. And the reason why this is needed is because otherwise we have to send out someone from DPW to do a manual read on the water, and that results in increased costs to village taxpayers as opposed to having it done electronically. So we need a resolution setting a public hearing for March 5th at...
Hold on, Dan.
Oh, that,
Audio and visual turnover.
yeah. No, I didn't even realize we were running out of tape. Too much talking. Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to set a public hearing for March 5th, 2018, at Suffern Village Hall for 7:05 PM for the purposes of considering the adoption of a local law amending Chapter 261-21C.
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Virginia, that's
Who made the motion?
March 5th, that was Moira Hertzman,
More,
Frank Hagen,
okay. So we're setting a
March
public-
5th,
Okay.
7:05.
Okay. Will do.
All right.
The next item, H, is a request to set a public hearing to amend Village Code Chapter 244 taxation, specifically Article 7, Section 244-44, with regard to veterans' alternative exemptions, as well...
Separate hearing.
Yes, as well as a public hearing to consider adding a section to that chapter dealing with Cold War veterans. Now, this is time sensitive.
Dan, could you hold just 1 minute?
Sure.
Because I'm not getting this one. We're having a public, I don't have the...
We have to set a date. We need a date prior to the meeting.
Yeah, it has to be adopted by March 1st, from my understanding.
Yes.
So this would require a special meeting,
Wait,
because...
this resolution or this
This-
Cold War veterans?
Both public hearings, the veterans exemption and then the Cold War veteran exemption. There's two separate exemptions.
Although,
So how are you going to set a public meeting? At the
we're
special
gonna...
meeting?
No, we're gonna have to set the public hearing tonight, so everyone take out their...
So it should be the week of February 19th, although 19th is holiday, so 20th, 21, 22, or 23.
This public...
And that will put us,
What is this
that
public
be enough
hearing
time?
for, Mayor?
Yes.
veterans exemption.
Veterans exemption?
Yes.
I don't have a...
Well, we'll give you the detail.
Okay.
What date?
We're choosing a date now, so the 20th, the 21st, 22nd, or the 23rd.
Is this in the
23rd is
evening?
the only day that I can do.
23rd is a Friday.
It's the only day that I can do.
February 30th, 23rd?
No, hold on. We gotta check with Moira and Joe, Frank.
What time of day is
What
it?
time?
Is it in
Is
the
it day?
evening or day?
Public hearing, we're setting the public hearing now, the date and time now. What is your convenience?
What time of the day are we talking about?
When are you available? Frank and I are usually available throughout the day.
I'm off on that Friday, the 23rd, but I'm away all those other dates.
Okay.
23 is the only day I can do.
Can you do 20, 21, 22? Moira?
Any of those, I prefer not to do the 23rd.
Right, I
But,
prefer not to do the 23rd. Frank?
Any of those, 20, 21, 20...
All right, so the 20th, at what time, Moira? What would be good for you?
Can we do 12?
Is this March?
2:20
March?
at 12.
12 noon.
Is this February?
February.
February.
Okay.
You gotta do it.
February the 23rd. What time?
So,
No, is it February 20th at 12 noon?
yes,
February 20th?
at 12 noon, and that would be to amend the Village of Suffern Code 244. And the second public hearing would be 12:05.
Right, yeah, whatever.
To adopt the Cold War veterans exemption.
That's the same section?
No, different section.
Okay.
Well, I'll see how it works out. It may be able to fit within that.
Say 12 noon.
Okay, so do we have a motion on that date and times for the two public hearings?
One is at 12 noon and one is at 12:05?
Correct.
I'll make the motion for that. and hope
Do I have a second?
people can come.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Do
Aye.
you think it's better to do it in the evening?
Two separate resolutions for, two separate motions for the two? I don't think he might. All right, what do you,
Do you think it would be better to do it in the evening, that, to be
For-
more
to-
accessible
for the
to
public? Yeah, absolutely.
So should we do it at 6 and 6:05?
Okay.
Get some.
All right, so here, to be clear,
Same day, 6, and then
to
6.
be clear, a motion to set the public hearing for February 20th at 6 PM to amend the Village of Suffern Code, Chapter 244.
With regard to veterans' alternative exemption.
So that's it. Motion for that one.
Right, for that one.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
And I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so it's February 20th at 6. Now, the second public hearing will be 18:05, 2:20, 6:05 PM, Cold War Veterans Exemption. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, okay? You got that?
I didn't get it all, but Amy, did you get it all?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay,
Amy's
I'm
fine.
sorry about that.
All right.
Okay. Next. Mr. Janito. Wow. See, last month's meeting, I think, was the fastest meeting. This month's meeting is going to be the longest meeting.
I'll try to be quick. As an update, Mayor, a few things. In terms of the 2018-19 budget, the department requests have gone out. We've received some of them back, and we're putting those together, waiting for others to return. We also have our audit for May 31, 2017. The field work has been done, and this week we're meeting with the auditors to go forward with what we would call a wrap-up of any open items and so forth. Tomorrow actually, we're going to be meeting with team members from West Point who are working on a telecommunications project. As you know, they are doing this pro bono for the village, where they're going to study our telephones and our signal wires. Some of the systems we have coming in are copper wire. They used to refer to as plain old telephone systems or POTS lines, as well as our IP lines. And that telephone contracts are coming due June of 2018, so this is a very timely way to do it. This week also, Public Works will be finishing up the submission of the CHIPS reimbursement request. That's due by February 7th. We have received all that we need to know about the deferred comp RFP proposals that have been returned. We are going to put together a score sheet and start evaluating which program offers the best for our employees. And last but not least, we are working with Microsoft for what's known as the Exchange Plan 2 for Government, where our emails will be going through a Microsoft secured server and have all the proper legal retention and so forth, and recovery and discovery, as it's known, if we need it. So that's just an update of where we are and some of the projects we've been running with. Now, the other item B is a resolution.
If you don't mind, just to go back to the budget process and the worksheets that went out to department heads, that's great news that we're starting that process. Also, just to keep in mind to make the public aware that we have a new auditing firm on board, as we discussed last year. It's Barad and Associates now, so that's a whole new auditing firm.
Yes.
And the West Point project is, we've been working in collaboration with West Point Pro Bono, as Mike stated, on different projects throughout the village, and they've been a great help, and Mr. Janito and Ms. Paffenroth will be helping along with the telecommunications portion of it. So we really have been developing a a wide array of programs and processes here in the village, and I thank you guys for really stepping up and helping out.
Yeah. Our pleasure, I'm sure. Mayor, the Section B is, or item B here under my category is...
I need to step out of the room.
Take the shortcut.
We have a resolution? He has a resolution.
Yes.
You have a resolution.
Yes.
All clear.
Very good. So item B is, as you know, very recently, we had a very successful conversion of energy-efficient lights put in at the community center, both inside and outside of the community center. And the payback period on those was, I think, 14 months, if I'm not mistaken. We now have a proposal in front of us by SmartWatt Energy, Inc., which does work with Orange and Rockland as a certified contractor for energy efficiency conversions of lighting. And the lighting that they looked at was that of Village Hall, including all of the police department. The only lights that were not included were the lights in this auditorium, that is, these lights in this very body of the auditorium. The stage lights are different, but these particular light bulbs are very old, if you will. Believe it or not, they're what's known as a 7-inch mogul-based bulb. It's larger than the standard bulb, and they did not have an immediate replacement for those. In addition to the 12 lights in this room, there are 8 lights in the museum of the similar structure. So we're going to look for some alternatives for those for energy efficiency as well. But in the meantime, our other lights, fluorescent lights, incandescent lights that are within the village hall, the hallways, the offices, the police department, the outside lights, those can all be converted over to LED lights with a savings and actually a 10-month payback period, meaning whatever we invest in those, we'll have an energy savings within the 10th-month period. And there is a large incentive from Orange and Rockland for that. For instance, the total project is estimated to be $29,889, and of that, Orange and Rockland is offering an incentive of $16,239 towards that, meaning that our cost would be $13,303. And we would have an estimated monthly energy savings of $1,354, meaning that we'd have a 10-month payback period for these lights. And we have sufficient funds within the utility lines to pay for this. So a resolution is before you that would authorize the mayor to enter into the agreement with SmartWatt Energy, Inc. for the purchase and installation of LED lights in Village Hall, and as well that it would allow us to take the funds from the utility lines as necessary to pay for the project. So the total cost of the project for the village is going to be $13,303.
Okay, so I have the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with SmartWatt Energy, Inc. for the purchase and installation of LED lights in Village Hall. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passes.
All right, Mayor, and just in closing on that, we've also asked SmartWatt to take a look at our other facilities, the water facility, water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, the DPW garage, Leo P. Leiden, the firehouses, et cetera, to see if there's any energy efficiencies we can gain from the lighting in those areas.
How long are they going to have the program in place? Do we know?
How long have they had it?
Or will they have it?
Not sure, but they haven't told us that there's a deadline to meet or anything like that.
Yeah, it worked out well in the community center.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Right.
And the lighting is much better. We talk about the cost and energy savings, but there's also savings in the fact that the bulbs will typically have a life of at least 10,000 hours, and many of them 50,000 hours. That's essentially almost never having to replace the bulbs again.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's wait for the rest of the guys to come back in. Saving the tape, Virginia?
Yep. I can just sit down with you, I have a couple of things that I have to straighten out. These public hearings.
Yeah, I think
Okay, you ready?
What'd you do with the attorney?
Not me.
He'll be back in.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
power through.
I'm trying. Good to go, Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a resolution establishing the position of court attendant part-time for the Suffern Justice Court. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby establishes the additional position of court attendant part-time for the Suffern Justice Court.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. The next resolution, accepting the New York State Unified Court System Justice Court Assistant Program Grant. Resolved, the Village of Suffern Board of Trustees hereby accepts the New York State Unified Court JCAP grant in the amount of $7,129.99 to be used for computer hardware, records management, software, security system equipment, and office equipment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next, I have a resolution accepting the Division of Criminal Justice Services DARE Program Grant. Village of Suffern Board of Trustees hereby accepts the Division of Criminal Justice Services DARE Program Grant in the amount of $7,000 to be used for the purpose of resurfacing the DARE hockey rink and the purchase of hockey equipment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Okay, next I have a resolution approving the Suffern Chamber of Commerce event permit application to hold the first Leprechaun Ball Crawl, March 10, 2018, at 8:30 p.m.
We saved the best for last.
Resolved, the Mayor and the Suffern Village Board of Trustees hereby approves the event permit application for Suffern Chamber of Commerce to hold the first Leprechaun Ball Crawl on Saturday, March 10, 2018, at 8:30, pending the receipt of certificate of insurance, named the Village of Suffern as additionally insured, and reviewed all documents by the village attorney. Do I have a motion?
I have a discussion.
How about a motion?
All right, motion.
How about a second?
Second.
How about discussion?
Do I have to wear a leprechaun suit that night?
Yes, I received this certificate of insurance, I think I forwarded it to you.
Yes, I was going to
Yeah.
mention that, but,
You did
No,
receive
I'm-
the
Yes.
certificate?
it'll be interesting to see which is more troubling, drunk leprechauns or drunk Santas, but I'm excited.
Actually, there was never a problem with the Santa Con, so,
Never?
no,
I have pictures.
not in Suffern.
No, I'm talking about New York, but
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
you
All
have to
right,
have that.
hold on now.
You're on E, Mayor.
I'm on E, thank you. Okay, safety coordinator designation for PERMA. We are still working on our safety coordinator. We spoke about the West Point Telecommunications Project. We will be celebrating and working with the Women's Club of Suffern on the 2020 centennial, which is coming up. We are still in the midst of rescheduling the New Jersey Transit Rail Improvement meeting that was canceled due to the most recent snowstorm. And the timesheets for designated appointed officials are due February 10th. Is that clear? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good, motion passes. Thank you. That was very lengthy.